Hey guys, Sandy here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I am playing with some fun Brutus Monroe products. I have these pre-printed watercolor panels. They have pumpkins and this sunflower, a tree, and then some leaves. I also have pulled out Playful Plaid, which is one of the paper collections, and then I have pulled out my Aqua Pigments. So let's see what I can do. Alright you guys, so this layout came together pretty quickly, but I think it makes a pretty big impact. I love how it turned out. So I am using some khaki and some white cardstock along with this gorgeous plaid paper from the paper pack. Now I trimmed down my white cardstock ever so slightly so that I could have the khaki color border all the way around it. Now I am going to be playing with some Aqua Pigments, and I give it a shake, and I also squeeze on the dropper bottle top because what that does is kind of mixes it in there without, you know, giving it the shaky so that you have it bubbly. Now, I am making this big and splotchy, but I'm doing that on purpose because my paper is going to go down that white area right there, and I want you to be able to see the beautiful color popping out. I definitely wanted to use that blue aqua pigment because of the blue lines in this plaid paper pad. Now, I was impatient. I didn't wait for it to dry. I didn't use a heat tool to dry it. I just put my paper on top of wet paper, so I do get warping. Now, warping doesn't bother me, probably not as much as it might bother some other people. The reason why I don't, I don't worry about the warping is because my layouts are going to be laying in a pile for a month, because I do put my layouts away monthly. And then they're going to go in page protectors, and they're going to be in pretty full albums, so this is going to flatten out. I'm not worried about it. Now, I do have my two photos. Now, these are pumpkins that my son and one daughter carved. This was while Alex was home in October. So Alex's is the one on the left, Lana's is the one on the right. Now I decided to use the khaki colored cardstock again, just because it puts continuity on my page. Now this is the fun part, guys. So this is a watercolor panel, and it is pre-printed, and I love the pumpkins right here. These are absolutely gorgeous. Now I am going to be painting on these watercolor panels with the Aqua Pigments, and I'm using them full strength. I am not diluting them with water. I'm using them full strength. I love the colors. Now I am going to mix colors together so that I can have varying shades. And I'm going to do that right on top of the paper. Like, I'm not going to mix it on a palette. I'm not doing anything like that. These panels are like thick enough and strong enough to be able to handle that. So I am, you know what, I'm like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I'm kind of a lazy scrapbooker, right? Like, I'm not putting my Aqua Pigments on a palette. I'm not even using packaging here, you guys. I'm just doing it. And it works. It works for me. I don't have extra mess to clean up. It just works. So I am going to be using multiple shades of the Aqua Pigments here. As you can see, my collection on the left is pretty large, and I'm just looking around to see what I can use. So I'm using a mixture of some oranges, yellows, and greens, and my pumpkins are going to be varying shades of all of them. Now, pumpkins in nature are varying shades of orange, yellows, and greens. So I figured, you know what, I'm just going to make that happen. Now, I am not going to worry about shading anything. I'm not going to worry about that at all. I am going to just use the pre-printed kind of shade marks on the pumpkins as my shading. And that's because, you know, I know I can do some basic shading, and I can, you know, do like figure out this is where the light source is, so I need to shade these areas. Like, I can do that, But since they're already pre-printed on the panels, why should I worry about it? It's already there. I don't need to worry about it. So I am just going to mix these colors, and as you can see, I am kind of using the panel itself as a palette, and that's just because I had a lot of color on the brush and it was a little bit too much right there. So now I'm just going to go ahead and wrap these pumpkin colors up. And then I do go into my stash of Aqua Pigments, and I am going to go ahead and fill in the little pumpkin stems as well with a darker color here. Just adding a little bit of color options because I want the pumpkins to have variations. So I'm just adding extra bits of color so that the variations are pretty strong. Like they're not just gonna be one color pumpkin all the way across this panel, because that would be kind of boring, right? Like I want the pumpkins to, you know, be a little exciting. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure all of my lids are on tight. I am kind of going through and seeing what I can use for a stem. And I eventually find one that I like, and I just go ahead and lay some color really quickly on the stems. I am not worrying about shading, not worrying about depth of color. I'm not worrying about any of that other than just getting some color on the stems so that they will be done. Now I'm going to set that aside to dry a little bit, and then I'm going to work on my layout. So, oops, I lost the fussy cutting footage, guys. Sorry about that. So if you are a fan of watching fussy cutting, I'm so sorry. If you hate fussy cutting, hey, good news for you, right? So I am going to pop this up, and I'm going to place it down here at the bottom of my photos just to give it a little bit of excitement. So as you can see, there is not a lot of that blue aqua pigment peeking out from behind the plaid, and that's okay. Since I just have like the slight blue lines in the plaid, I am okay with only having the slight blue aqua pigment peeking out. Totally okay with that, you guys. Now, if you want more aqua pigment, then like by all means, you just slap that stuff all over that page. I'm using these Simple Stories foam letter stickers, and I did get these from Brutus Monroe. And I didn't have any more ends, so I went ahead and trimmed down this M to make an N. And then there we go. So now my title is Punkin, and I do have the little apostrophe right there off of the sticker sheet, so I went ahead and placed that down as well. And now I'm going to drop some journaling. First, though, I'm going to put on my absolute favorite sparkly sequins. These are the best gold sparkly sequins that you will ever see in your lives, guys. I'm just going to put a couple down onto the page. I just drop a little glue and pop each one of the sequins down. Now you can see the varying shades of color in the pumpkins, and I just love how it turned out. So once I get the sequins down, then I'm going to lay down the journaling, and I'm just going to talk about the pumpkins and how Alex and Lana carved pumpkins. So my kids indulge me. They're grown adults, and you know, I mean, Alex is a sergeant in the Marine Corps now, guys. So like they're grown adults, but they indulge me. And when he came home last October, he carved pumpkins. So you know, I appreciate the kids are still, you know, wanting to do those kind of things. It makes me happy. They like to give me moments to scrapbook. Ah, love those pumpkins so much. Okay, there it is, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again real soon for another video.